We have used the hurdle rates in all of our models. But what are those hurdle rates are? Well, there are two main types of hurdle rates. There are soft hurdle rates and hard hurdle rates. And additionally, the hurdles can be further classified as a fixed rate hurdle or variable rate hurdle. In our models, we will focus on these two above. And the hard hurdle rate will allow performance fees only on returns above the hurdle rate, while soft hurdle rate will allow the performance fees on entire return once the hurdle is exceeded. So this is more GP favors and this is more LP favors. Does it sound familiar? In our prior catch-up models, we have two types of catch-up. We have the catch-up on preferred return and the return of capital, just like the soft hurdle, right? And then we have our catch-up only on preferred return. So in our performance fee with a high watermark next, we will further explore similar situations just like the carried interest model we mentioned earlier. So just to remind you some common characteristics of the hurdle rate. And normally 7 to 8%, this is just a typical range, and you could even see some hurdles lower or higher, anywhere between even 5 to 9%. It really depends on what type of funds. And then hurdles often based on internal rates of return or a multiple of the initial investment. And it's usually cumulative and compound annually. In our prior base model, we keep saying the profit needs to be large enough to cover management fee and a hurdle. That is an example of a hard hurdle rate model. We will only charge the performance fee when there's left over after management fee. Whenever this is not enough, we will make it zero. That's why there's very simple calculation here to just use the profit minus the hurdle and the management fee. Well, this is a case without a high watermark. Before we move to our models, let's quickly go through what high watermark is. So high watermark is the highest value that an investment fund or account has reached. It serves as a benchmark for calculating performance fees. So for example, in a very typical picture you can find it from anywhere on the internet, the picture like this, and you will see in this different time series, the high water mark are the ones reach the highest point. So there are three high water mark here. So in order to charge performance fees, the high water mark only charges the fees when it reaches that point. So when the performance is poor, the fund does not reach the high water mark, there's no performance fee here. And in terms of fee base, the fee base only will be the current watermark minus prior watermark and then times this performance rate. In our case, later after we're walking through the models, we will have an ending result like this. So on the left-hand side picture, you will see we have the ending nav trending up, and we have this orange line as a high watermark. The performance fee bars happen only when the ending nav is above the high watermark, 2019, 2021, 2023, 2025, and last year. However, you may have a question. Why in these years when the ending nav is actually above the high water mark this year and 2026, but why though it's no performance fee? Well, as we walk through in our base model, you need to make sure the profit is large enough to cover the fees. So in 2020, 2022, 2024, and 26 and 7, we have years that we have a negative profit. Of course, there's no performance fee. And we have a couple years that we do have positive profit. However, you look at this hurdle line. Our profit here is just not large enough to hit in the hurdle line. That's why these 5 years, they have no performance fee, but for different type of reasons.